New York Jets general manager Joe Douglas spoke at his midseason post-trade deadline press conference yesterday, said a bunch of different interesting things. I want to give you my thoughts on each item. Let's talk about it in today's Jake Asman show. Let's hit it and get it started. Super Bowl favorite meets plucky underdog as Buffalo comes to town. But anything can happen at MetLife. Will we see a major upset?
You're writing the story of your own life. Never allow another man to hold the pen.
Please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button down below. Super Chat, baby. Cut the line. Can these Jets shock the football world? Now, let's talk about the New York Jets. This is the Jake Asman Show. Hit it! Here we go on a Wednesday program. Thank you all for taking the time to watch today's show. Reminder, thanks to BUSR, we got a pretty sick contest that we're doing. It's not even a contest. It's just a giveaway. All you need to do is scan that QR code or simply go to busr.com/Asman, sign up, make your account, and make the $100 minimum deposit, and you're automatically entered in the giveaway for 2 tickets in Section 118 for Jets and the Bears. Darrelle Revis, a Ring of Honor ceremony game that's coming up on November 27th. I'm going to be there, and you could too. busr.com/Asman to be entered in the Jets ticket giveaway. Once again, scan the QR code, sign up, minimum deposit of $100, and you're automatically entered. This contest runs till November 7th. We will contact you if you win, and we will, of course, announce it here on the show. Thanks to BUSR for this awesome giveaway for a Jet fan out there. All right, here we go. Let's talk about what Joe Douglas said yesterday. I thought it was a very interesting press conference. Douglas doesn't give you a ton, but he gave you enough, I think, to kind of react to some of the different news items he was asked about. Let's start with to me, the biggest one, his belief in Zach Wilson. Joe Douglas saying yesterday that they believe in Zach, said that he had obviously some throws he'd want to have back on Sunday against the Patriots, but they're 4-1 with him. And he referenced the comeback in Pittsburgh, hostile environment, down 2 scores, and Zach leading them back as an example of Zach showing his potential. Here's more from Joe Douglas talking about just how good the Jets can be if they simply take care of the football.
It's going to be tough to beat when we take care of the ball. When we take care of the ball, when we don't have self-inflicted wounds, and we talk about that every week. How games aren't won in this league; they're lost. And so when you take care of the ball, and with our defense and special teams, we're going to be a tough team to beat. So just focus on the turnover battle, focus on eliminating the self-inflicted wounds, and that's not just for Zach. That's the entire team.
Well, it mostly is for Zach, though. If we're going to be fair, he's got to take care of the ball. Zach Wilson wants that game back. I don't think there's any doubt he wants that game back on Sunday. He threw 3 back-breaking interceptions. One of them never should have happened. He's trying to throw the ball away, and somehow it still got intercepted. Now, I could argue the Patriot player I thought was out of bounds, but regardless, you could throw that ball into the last row at MetLife Stadium, and it all counts the same as a throw out of bounds. So that's what Zach has to clean up. I guess what's encouraging is he seemed like correctable mistakes. You know what I mean? Like when Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts, he couldn't process, he couldn't read defense. I don't think that's Zach Wilson's problem after rewatching the game once again. So I'm with Joe Douglas there. Win the turnover battle, take care of the ball. And the Jets have a chance with how well their defense is playing and how good their special teams has been outside of, this pass game. They got a real chance. Really, defensively, it's unreal how great this turnaround has been. Depending on what metrics you look at, the Jets defense in DVOA or PFF grading or ESPN stats and info is anywhere from 1 to 5. We're watching a legitimate top 5 defense, and we've seen the defense get better week in, week out as they stop blitzing, the front four is getting home, and really, they trust Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed one-on-one. At the beginning, there was a lot more zone coverage, safety help. Now they're like, Sauce, go do your thing. because they trust him. And he's been one of the great corners, not rookies, one of the great corners in the NFL already. Joe Douglas asked about Sauce yesterday, talked about how great he's been and how excited they are about his future. But, as far as what Joe said about Zach Wilson, that's what he has to say. That's what he has to say. He's the second pick in the draft. He drafted him. They believe in him. They want to give him more time. He's played 18 career games. If Zach is still struggling at the end of the year, has games like what we saw Sunday against New England, it's a different conversation. But for all those frustrated with Zach, you don't pull the plug on him 18 games into his NFL career when the team's 4-1 since he's returned. All right, Robert Saleh saying they're going to stick with him no matter what yesterday. That's the right approach. That's how you handle your franchise quarterback. You don't want any doubt to creep in. You want to have confidence in your guy. And I thought Saleh made a pretty interesting point. You don't want Zach to think anytime he makes a mistake, he's getting benched. That's why you don't just pull the plug. Now, if he has 3 brutal interceptions against the Bills in the first half, yeah, you know what? You might have to send a message at that point and bench him. But you don't want Zach Wilson, who up until this game against the Patriots on Sunday, had not been turnover prone this year and was not turnover prone in the 7 games when he returned back from injury last year. You don't want him thinking at the first sign of adversity now, oh, holy crap, they're going to bench me. You don't want that. Some of you might disagree. That's okay. I think the Jets are handling it the right way. Zach's the quarterback until he's not. And I believe he will be the quarterback for the remainder of the year at the minimum. At that point, he would have played 27 games, and we'll worry about where he's at then. But I don't expect what we saw Sunday to be a thing. I want Zach to get back to what he was doing in the 4 prior games before that, taking care of the ball. Here's more from Joe Douglas. So obviously a big story at this media availability was going to be Elijah Moore's trade request. Elijah Moore obviously was not traded yesterday. I think that was the right move because you don't want to have a player request a trade and then you immediately trade him. What type of precedent does that set? Now they got to use Elijah Moore. We'll talk more about that in a moment, but this was Joe Douglas on Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I know Coach has talked about it a little bit. But we love Elijah. We all stood on the table to take him high in the second round last year, and we think the world of him. Obviously, we're a football family, and anytime there's an issue, we like to handle that in house. But I was able to have a really good one-on-one conversation with Elijah, and again, we think the world of him. We think he has a bright future as a New York Jet.
All right. Well, it's time to use him then. I agree with that. I don't think they should have traded him. I think it's the right move. But now Elijah Moore needs to be part of this offense. You want to send a message to him last week against New England because of the trade request he made in the middle of the Broncos week? All right. I guess I'll listen to that. But now Elijah Moore's here. The trade deadline has passed. Elijah Moore apparently works hard. Great teammate, apparently. I mean, I don't see that after you do what you did with the trade request, but okay. Now it's time to use him. Let's go. Get Elijah Moore involved in this offense. You're going to need to score points to beat the Bills. Yes, the defense is going to have to play their asses off, but if the Jets want any chance to win as a double-digit home underdog, they're going to need explosive plays, and that's what Elijah Moore can bring to this team. If Elijah Moore's now here for at least the rest of the year, it is time to use him. So I'm glad they didn't trade him. I'm glad they didn't trade Denzel Mims, but now you got to use those guys in the offense. Really, Elijah Moore. Denzel Mims, it is what it is. I'm glad he got some action, made some plays on Sunday, but if Corey Davis is back, I don't really know what role Mims is going to have. But Elijah Moore, he is going to have a role. He should have a role. He's too good of a player to not have any role. He's got to play more than 8 snaps. I don't need to see Jeff Smith out there. Those snaps should go to Elijah Moore right away. Here's more from Joe Douglas. So obviously, this is the first time that he's spoken since the Jets acquired James Robinson last week. That ended up being the Jets' most significant trade deadline move, besides, basically shedding salary and creating more playing time for Bryce Huff and Jermaine Johnson by getting a 4th-round pick for Jacob Martin, which I thought was a solid move by Joe Douglas. So he was asked about the approach the Jets took at this trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're looking for opportunity, and I felt like last week there was an opportunity to add a proven running back. Add him to our room and an outstanding person. So I'd say each year is different, Connor. But for us, just canvassing the market, canvassing the league, we felt like these were the two right moves for us.
I'm okay with what the Jets did. I mean, I didn't see the big splash that was out there. Someone name me the player the Jets missed out on that you wanted them to get, right? Laramie Tunsil wasn't traded. Jack Conklin wasn't traded. And I think it's a good sign that they didn't add an offensive lineman from this standpoint. They must have pretty good faith that post-bye week, you're going to get George Fant and Max Mitchell back. That's my takeaway, right? And Douglas even referenced that in his answer about the offensive line. He said they explored trade opportunities at a number of positions, including offensive line. And he mentioned the, quote, really good depth they have there. Talked about Herberg, Obuhe, Remmers, and then mentioned how they're going to get Mitchell and Fant back. That better be the case. Now, I've been burnt trying to trust the Jets' medical updates in the past, but I'm hoping since Joe Douglas was aggressive in adding James Robinson and maybe could have been aggressive in doing something yesterday on the O-line, that they have legit faith post-bye week they're going to get those tackles back. So it's one more game of hopefully Zach Wilson having to not run for his life every play, and then the offensive line post-bye week before the New England game can start to really stabilize. That's what you got to hope for. But I'm not surprised the Jets didn't do anything yesterday. If you saw the show yesterday, I kind of said I'd be surprised if they make another significant trade. I had heard from my Texan sources Tunsil was not getting moved. Now, on a Texans note, I'm surprised Brandon Cooks wasn't traded, but that's a whole other story for Texans Tom or whoever wants that on the radio show later today. As far as what Douglas said there, though, they got to get Fant, they got to get Mitchell back. That's a whole key to this offensive line taking a step. And that will essentially be like a trade deadline acquisition, getting those two players back from injured reserve. Finally, I thought this was pretty cool from Joe Douglas. They asked him about Mekhi Becton, speaking of the offensive line, and we got a positive Mekhi Becton update from Joe D.
I had the procedure out in LA with Dr. Eltrash. He stayed out there for a few weeks. He's been back in the building since I want to say early last month. And he's been back. He's been rehabbing every day in our training room. I know his focus is coming back next year in the best shape he can be, and as healthy as he can be. And again, we feel really optimistic that he's going to be full strength for OTAs.
So that's encouraging. I'll say this. I'm not even going to go down the path of what's Becton's role next year. We're not doing that now. We're not doing that on November 2nd when the Jets are 5-3. I don't have time for the Becton discourse. I'll add real quick. Good. Hope he's healthy. Whatever you get from Mekhi Becton next year is a bonus. You're not banking on him to be a starter. I think he'll be on the team. I don't think you hand him a starting job. I don't think they will. I think if you ask me right now what the Jets do in the draft with their first round pick, it's likely going to be a tackle, but we'll see. I mean, Dwayne Brown's under contract next year. Max Mitchell looked pretty good before he got hurt. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out. Good update on Becton. Another update on Breece Hall. He's expected to be fully ready to go by the training camp next summer. So positive updates on Becton, positive updates on Breece. Also, same thing with AVT. So for those curious about the Jet injuries, there you go. But you can't rely on Mekhi Becton to be a starter next year. Hopefully he's healthy. Let him compete for a job potentially. Let him be a depth piece. And the way everyone always gets hurt on this Jets team, I'm sure Mekhi, if he's healthy, will get an opportunity at some point next year. He's under contract. You don't give up on him, but you can't rely on him. That's where I'm at with Becton. But we'll have plenty of time to talk about Mekhi Becton in the offseason. We're focused in on a team that has a legitimate opportunity to be a playoff team. And that's my final takeaway from the Douglas press conference. He said the quote, "We set ourselves up to play important games." Joe Douglas coming into the year said the goal is to play meaningful games in December. Barring a collapse, the Jets are going to do that. Even if they lose the next 2 weeks and they're 5-5, late December, November 27th, you're playing the Bears at home. Should be a game you win. Then you're 6-5 going into the last month of the year. You got a shot. You got a shot. Now, I'd like the Jets to be better than 6-5. I'd like them to beat Buffalo on Sunday, beat New England on the road. They haven't lost a game on the road yet, of course. But I'm just saying, barring a collapse, the Jets have put themselves in position to do more than just play meaningful games in December. I want the playoffs. I look around the AFC right now, and I see mediocrity everywhere. I see two great teams in the conference. Two. Buffalo, who the Jets now got to face twice, and Kansas City. Outside of that, I see a wide open opportunity for a bunch of teams. And hopefully, because of how good the Jets defense appears to be, and Zach Wilson not turning the ball over, let's hope Sunday was an outlier. they're going to have a real chance. And this idea that you can't develop Zach while winning is nonsense. You can. Zach will get better being around a winning environment, learning how to take care of the ball, how to win. He doesn't need to throw 40 times a game to be developed. What good was Zach Wilson going 20 of 41 for 355 yards, Jet fans? What good was that? Oh, but Jake, he's never thrown for 300 yards because that means he sucks. Well, now he has, and he threw 3 picks. You happy? I'd rather win ugly than win with Zach Wilson having good fantasy stats. That's where I'm at. And I think Joe Douglas nailed it with his assessment on taking care of the ball yesterday. With that being said, we'll open it up now. Comments, questions, anything on your mind. Super Chats cut the line. Let's talk about Mojo first. Mojo's the sports stock exchange. It opens every day at 9 a.m. If you're someone that likes the Jets or just likes the NFL in general, this is the app for you. If you're in New Jersey, download it and start trading in real time. You can invest in your favorite athletes. You could buy and sell year-round. And maybe most importantly, you can cash out anytime. And, oh, did I mention you could actually bet on college football athletes? Bryce Young stock currently going for $34.88. I'd invest in some of that. Bryce Young, that's my guy right there for the Texans. But Mojo, place to invest in the sports stock exchange. And I'm going to make it easy for you. If you're in New Jersey, take out your phone, scan that QR code like you're at your favorite restaurant that you got to scan the menu. Take out the phone, scan the QR code. It will take you right to the app's landing page, and you can download it and start trading today. So pause this video, scan that QR code, and start playing Mojo today. All right, here we go. Comments, questions, anything Jet-related, Joe Douglas-related on your mind. Super Chat, start us off. This one is from City Bird, who says, it feels like there were a ton of Pat fans on Sunday. Hopefully more Jet fans show up this Sunday than Bills fans. Thoughts on this? There's always going to be rival fans that travel. And there'll be more Bills fans at this game on Sunday than Patriot fans, in my opinion. That's how the Bills fan always travels to MetLife. A lot of people from upstate New York move down to the tri-state area. So you're going to see a lot of that. And there were some Pats fans on Sunday, but from people I spoke to, it was way less than normal because of how big of a game it was for the Jets. Let's keep going here. Christopher says, ZW is his own worst enemy with wanting to be Rodgers and Mahomes. If he checks his ego, this man can be great. I think that's what's encouraging, though, about like some of the things Zach's going through. It seems like these are correctable things. Honestly, he's got to make the corrections. And if he doesn't, he's not going to be here a long time, but he's got to correct the mistakes. Simple as that. Like, if you bench the quarterback after he makes these mistakes, I think you rock his confidence. And what type of message is there? The talent is there with Zach. We all see it. He needs more experience. He's gotta not try and force things or think he can make every play. That's gotta be coached out of him, and he's got to make that adjustment. And it can be done before. It has been done. It can be done. Hennessy says, this staff says all the right things about Elijah Moore, but Elijah Moore doesn't say any of the right things. It's a fair point, Hennessy. The Jets have stood by Elijah Moore publicly. They didn't trade him. If Elijah Moore wants to be part of this team or wants to get some stats to increase his value, better start playing well. Carpetbagger says JD was money at the presser. You know, you always like what the GM is saying when the team is winning. Let's keep that in mind. But yeah, I thought Joe Douglas gave us some good stuff. Nick says, I already have the Jets winning the first half at +7.5 and the game +13 with BUSR. We are playing them close with a chance to win. 13 points is a lot in the NFL, Nick, especially with the Jets defense. If I was making a pick on this game, and I'll make one later in the week, I would probably take the points as well. That's a lot of points. I mean, Green Bay just covered 10.5 against the Bills, and they were on the road. VR says, I had the Vikings as a possible win, but going to walk that back. Yeah, look, the Vikings look like a good team. They got better yesterday with TJ Hawkinson. I'm still not completely sold, though, on Kirk Cousins. I think the Jets defense could force some turnovers that game and maybe even up the playing field. We'll see. We'll worry about that game then. Nuzio says, I think losing to the Pats might give us some extra juice against the Bills. Maybe the Bills might overlook us a bit because of that too. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Yeah, maybe the Bills overlook you a little bit, but the Bills could play probably their B- game and still win. They played a great first half against Green Bay and then really did nothing in the second half, and they still won by a ton. Jacob says the Bills D made Rodgers look like Christian Hackenberg. Not really. I mean, Aaron Rodgers put up some numbers in that second half. That's like Aaron Rodgers has never really looked like Christian Hackenberg, to be fair. My Holy King says, hope Buffalo fans bring free wings with them. Yeah, you'll smell it in the parking lot. I'm No Samoan says, how crazy would you go if the Jets beat the Bills on Sunday? Very crazy. Just because it'd be so unexpected. Sean says, so basically we have another Mark Sanchez situation. I think Zach's ceiling is infinitely higher than Mark Sanchez's situation. But if you want the comp, the Jets need Zach Wilson to basically take care of the ball the way the Jets were just demanding Sanchez to do it in 09 and 2010. And Sanchez still struggled with it. Sanchez's rookie year, he threw 20-something interceptions. His second year in the league, he cut his interceptions down from, I think it was 22 to 13. Citybird, Super Chat, cuts the line. For everyone that says we can't draft quarterbacks, we drafted the 2022 midseason MVP in Geno. Zach can still develop, but not comparing him to Geno. Shout out to John Izek. He knew 10 years ago that Geno Smith would turn out to be a good quarterback. Who knew? Carpetbagger says, Jake, nice hat. Are you getting product placement pay for that? Nike is not paying me to wear this. No. I wish. RA says, we could win the Vikings game if it gets forced into prime time. Yeah, I mean, the best chance to beat Kirk Cousins is when he's not playing a 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff game. The stats bear it out. Jets Forever Ever wants to know what I think the issue is in the offensive scheme that's keeping us from using Elijah. I don't know. That's what's so frustrating. He should be used. He's a talented player. Use him. Jets Forever says Zach was shredding Buffalo last year. He was not. Jets Forever, you're such a professional troll, man. Zach Wilson was not shredding Buffalo last year. He didn't play against them the first time at MetLife. And the last game of the year, following what I thought was his best game, the offense did nothing because they didn't have Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. Braxton Berrios got hurt in that game, and so did Jamison Crowder. My Holy King says, how many sacks do you predict the Jets defense will get against Josh Allen? The only chance they have of winning is if they get like 5 or 6 sacks. V-Man with a super chat. I haven't read it yet, so apologies in advance because you never know where this is going. People have to realize he's still in the game manager phase, not yet ready to lean on his arm, but that time will come. I agree, V-Man. Also, thoughts on Verlander jinxing the Astros with the dynasty comments? I don't think he really jinxed them, V-Man. But I do love the fact that you love to bring up how Justin Verlander sucks in the World Series, which is true. He's got the highest ERA ever in World Series history. How about the Phillies, man? Just crazy. They won 87 games, and they're 2 wins away from a World Series championship. Would not have even made the playoffs in any other year besides this year because baseball expanded the playoffs. Crazy. Tavar says, I did some thinking, and I'll watch the first quarter. Tavar, congrats to you. Armani. Hey, Jake, I think JD made the right move yesterday and last week. I also feel confident that the Jets will beat the Bills on Sunday. Why not? I'm an optimistic Jet fan. Zach will fix the mistakes. Armani, thank you for the super chat. I love what they did last week, bringing in James Robinson. I like that they traded away Jacob Martin, who is not a bad player. He had a sack on Sunday. He's a solid player. You just want to clear some opportunities for Bryce Huff and for Jermaine Johnson to get more playing time, which they've now done. I do not think the Jets are going to beat the Bills on Sunday, though. I hope you're right. I'd love to be wrong. Felix says, do I see the Jets winning 7 to 9 games? I mean, I had 7 and 10 at the beginning of the season. I definitely think they're going to win at least 2 more games. They're going to win more than that, though. I want 10 wins. I do. I want the Jets to go at least 10 and 7. Dave says, is it frustrating that Chris Sims, who isn't a Jet fan, has a more positive outlook on the team than the fans? Fans can have whatever outlook they want, Dave. I do get a sense the Jet fan is way more negative than other fan bases. Really, in New York, the Jet fan is just more negative than most teams' fan bases. But that's what losing does. I mean, if you're a Jet fan, you saw Sanchez flop, Geno Smith flop, Sam Darnold flop. You're trying to get out ahead of it. But yeah, Chris Sims is a Zach Wilson believer. I respect him for it. Let's see. BX says running 15 times is not going to work. Run the damn ball. Puts less stress on Zach. Agreed. They got to get back to running the ball. Hopefully we see more James Robinson this week now that he's had another full week. Sean says, Buffalo can be rushed on. They make mistakes. If the Jets play a flawless game, Jets will win, but that's the problem whenever the Jets played a perfect game. I mean, most teams in the NFL don't play a perfect game, Sean. You want the Jets to play a perfect game against the best team in football? It's not realistic. Like, I'm not going to do the fire everybody if the Jets get beat by 10 or more points in this game on Sunday. They're playing the best team in football. Be realistic about what you're going to see on Sunday. The Bills are better than the Jets. They are. So keep that in mind. Astral says, if Zach has another turnover day like that, he's got to be benched for discipline. If he throws 3 more picks in a game, yeah, I'm with you, but I don't see that happen. Jay Pisani, super chat, cuts the line. I want to see a team play competitive game at home against a division opponent. This can't be the old Jets getting bulldozed like no counts. I agree. They gotta be in the game. This should not be a blowout. But don't be mad if the Bills win. They're better. The Jets are 13-point home underdogs. 13. I think that's too high personally, but I understand why the line is that high. David said, were there any moves you think they should have made that we didn't? Not really. I mean, once they added James Robinson, and I didn't see them doing anything that significant. Jerry says, I have a bad feeling Sauce is going to have a bad game. Why would you think that, Jerry? By the way, Sauce is allowed a bad game. He's still a rookie. But I think Sauce is going to play well. Felix, super chat. I have a good feeling we're going to win this week. Are you going to Christie's Sunday? Felix, I don't know what Christie's is. I guess that's maybe Christian's Tailgate. I will be there. The Houston Jet Bar. I'll be there. How do I think Sauce will deal against Diggs? I think, look, Diggs will get his, but I think Sauce will make some plays. Rico says, what matchup are you looking forward to? Diggs versus Sauce and Garrett versus that secondary. It looks like Wilson to Wilson connection starting to heat up. You nailed it, man. Who's not excited to watch Sauce versus Diggs? I mean, that's a premier matchup. Sauce versus Diggs. A lot of people talking about that. Jets forever clowning someone for saying that they wish that the Jets had Keelan Cole. Yeah, I'm okay with no Keelan Cole. VR says Sauce against Diggs will be a push. Diggs against the zone is where we'll get killed. Diggs killed the Jets last year. Killed them. I say you put sauce on them and just let it ride. That's what I would do. Sean just realized the line is 13 points. Yeah, Sean, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, do I want the Jets to win on Sunday? Yes. Am I expecting them to? How could I sit here and tell you I expect them to be, in my opinion, the best team in football? Could it happen? Yeah. Upsets do happen. I talked about this yesterday. I don't think the Bills are going to run the table and finish 16-1. I think they'll lose another game or two before the year ends, even though they're going to be a favorite against any team they play if you look at their schedule. The Jets could win this game on Sunday. Am I picking them to? Am I expecting them to? No, I'm not. Do I want to be wrong? Yeah. Hell yeah. Tavar wants to know how I feel about Jalen Brunson. He's been awesome, Tavar. He's been great. That contract is a bargain. He's the 14th highest paid point guard in basketball. He solves an issue the Knicks have had for a decade plus at that position. Jalen Brunson's awesome. I'm excited to watch little Knicks basketball tonight. I'm sure the Knicks fans going are ready to boo Trae Young. Jets forever, ever, says Sauce locked up Bengals receivers. Why not Diggs? Yeah, I mean, Sauce went one-on-one with Jamar Chase and held his own. I think he can get a hold of his own with Stephon Diggs. Evan says, wish the Jets had an elite wide receiver. They might. He's just not developed yet. I think Garrett Wilson is a legit number one. He's just not there yet, 8 games into his rookie year. Carly's going to the Knicks game tonight. She's ready to boo Trey. Jet Carpetbagger said, Sauce picks Josh Allen for 6. Wouldn't that be electric? Thoric says, the Dolphins beat the Dolphins beat the Bills. The Jets beat the Dolphins. It's possible for a surprise win from the Jets any given Sunday. It's possible. I'm not predicting it, but yeah, of course. I don't think the Bills are going 16-1. They'll lose another game this year. Felix says, do I think Mims will get more touches? I'm not sure. I think the Jets, predicting Jets touches on offense is so tough because you don't know how often they're going to run the ball, and you'd think they'd want to run the ball more. And what does the game script call for? I want to see Garrett Wilson get more touches. I think he's a true number one in this league. He needs to be incorporated into this offense. I want to see Elijah Moore utilized a little more. And if Corey Davis is back, we know Zach always goes to Corey Davis. He's got the best chemistry with him on the team. He trusts him. Mr. Downtown says, will you ever add Knicks content to your channel? I really want to, Mr. Downtown. It's just hard to do more than the Jet stuff and the occasional, Nick or Yankee. I've done some Islanders. It's tough because I don't have time. This is not my full-time job. I'm on the radio here in Houston for 20 hours a week, driving an afternoon show. So it's just, if I had more time, I'd love to. I just don't. But trust me, I still watch every Knick game, every Islander game. I'm as plugged into New York sports as I've ever been. I am John says, I'm still torn over the Pats loss. Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm frustrated with that. I'm not really torn. I know what happened. It sucks. Hennessy says, this would be a nice upset. A nice upset. This would be the upset of the year. The Jets beat a Bills team that's 13-point favorites against them. Oh, babe, where do I sign, Hennessy? I have some Hennessy above my liquor shelf right now. I'll start slugging that on the air if the Jets beat the Bills. Mike says, how about the Isles winning 4 in a row? Great win last night in Chicago. Brock Vember got off to a nice start. Knicks better than the Nets. The Nets are an unmitigated disaster. They are an embarrassment. They are an absolute embarrassment. And the fact that Adam Silver has done absolutely nothing about the Kyrie Irving stuff is just appalling. Carpetbagger says, put Elijah in the slot. Amen. I would. First play of the game, give me an Elijah Moore end around. Give me an Elijah Moore screen. Tavar with a deep question. How do you stay motivated, live every day, and work? That's how I make my living, Tavar. I'll get paid to talk about sports. Beats having a real job. But yeah, I mean, if you love what you do, it makes going to work every day a lot easier. James says Michael Nania explained why the Jets pulled Elijah Moore. I got to watch Nania's breakdown. A couple of people tagged me in on Twitter. I haven't watched it yet. Jamal says Zach needs to make quick throws less than 1.5 seconds. I do think there's something to getting the ball out quicker. I mean, that's how this goes. Processing, get the ball out quick, especially against this Bills pass rush and the state of the Jets offensive line. Vinny says, the Knicks are so bad they forced me to convert back to my childhood team. You can't leave your team for another team, Vinny. That's the height of fraudulence. The team you root for is the team you root for. That's it. If you grew up a Bulls fan, then root for the Bulls. Michael says, why do you think people are so critical of Zach? Hated him coming out, wanted Fields, too handsome. I think all of the above. A lot of Jet fans want to be right rather than admit that they could be wrong. Zach has one bad game. It's immediately, see, we never should have taken him. He sucks. I was right. Or if he plays well, it's like, well, let's nitpick it apart. It wasn't actually that good. I think that's part of it. Some people wanted Fields for sure. Some wanted you still have some Darnold truthers in this fan base. Yeah, he's also very handsome, no doubt. A lot of ugly people out there hate him for that. I mean, it's a lot of things. Jet fans are just overly negative in general because you have never seen consistent success. Tony says Jets need to activate Strevler and do some trick plays. Doesn't sound like that's happening. Jaden says, did you see Josh Allen's comments on Zach? I did not. What did he say? Christopher says, if we get a good versions of Whitehead and Joyner, I'm feeling a big upset victory. Wouldn't that be nice? Carpetbagger says, is there any professional team you could hate more than the Patriots? No, not for me anyway. Tom is here. I bet Jake would take Davis Mills now. So I block Tom every day as soon as I see him, and then he makes a new account and comes back. So I'm just going to keep doing that because it's funny how much effort he has to put in to keep creating a new account. Hennessy, Super Chat. Jake, if we win, live Henny shot on the post game, and I'll call in for the first time. You got it. The Jets win. We'll do some Henny shots on the air in honor of your name, Hennessy. How long have you been drinking Hennessy, Heisman? And why did your parents decide to call you Hennessy? Were they big Hennessy drinkers? Tavar says, Jake, how do you feel about Zach Wilson having no facial hair in year 2? I'm okay with it. I'm fine with that. Mr. Bonesy says, did everyone here rewatch the game? Zach had 10 explosive plays minus his Madden juice bonehead plays. He played decent. All right, let me say this. I'm a Zach Wilson defender at times, even though apparently I was too hard on him, according to some of you, and then some of you I wasn't hard enough. So whatever. I call it how I see it personally. I can't sit here and tell you, other than the turnovers, he played decent. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? He did not have a good game on Sunday. You cannot throw 3 interceptions against a divisional opponent at home, a game in which he only lost by 5, and we could say, well, he played decent besides that. No, he did not have a good game. He's got to clean it up. But Bonesy, I love you, man. I do think there was some good in that game, but overall, we can't say he played decent. That's not fair. He was bad. Apparently, Hennessy was baptized in Hennessy, says Sean. Zach Davis says, join late. Zach has to run the ball. I agree. There's opportunities for Zach to use his legs. There's rushing lanes, and he should use them. But he hasn't used them at times. And I think that's That's an issue. There was the one play, 4th and 5. He's trying to throw to Conklin in the end zone on that seam route. He had 20 yards all to himself, just run. Mac Jones did that. He's not athletic. Not compared to Zach Wilson. Jets Forever saying Zach played amazing. Jets Forever, you really are just something else, man. Shout out to you. Someone wants to know, what did Tom do? Tom joins my show every day, complains that there's not enough Texans content, and then conveniently leaves out that for the last, I don't know, since December of 2021, there's been 3 to 4 videos per day talking about Texans or other Houston sports. Let's see, a couple more here, then we'll get out of here. What percentage of Bills fans in the crowd on Sunday? Look, there's going to be a lot. Hopefully it's not 40 or 50%, though. It's probably going to be 25%, though, to be honest. They travel really well. Rich says, F Tom. I should go live with Tom, says James. I think Tom might actually be a Jet fan just trolling as a bit, but I haven't figured it out yet. M. Morris says, seems like they told Zach not to run. So I don't think that's true. I think Zach has been just more hesitant to run since coming back, but because he's trying to make the play downfield when he doesn't realize he can make the play with his legs as he did at the end of his rookie year. Carly says 400 plus people watching, 70 likes. Like the video. Thank you, Carly. Bonesy says, Jake, all I mean is it would have hurt more if he threw 3 picks and they all look like the Eagles preseason pick. His turnovers were awful. Lost us the game, but it's fixable in my opinion. That's a great take, Bonesy. I actually said that earlier. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you with that. All right, one more minute, then we'll get out of here. Tom versus Jets Forever in a steel cage match. Who you got? I got Jets Forever. He's a robot. Is it true Zach Wilson doesn't eat bagels? I have no inside knowledge on that. I mean, he lives in New Jersey. I would hope he eats bagels. You're not going to find better bagels than you will in New York, New Jersey. Did I miss any super chats? I don't believe I did. All right. We're going to end it right there. Appreciate all of you for watching today's show. Do me a favor. Hit that like button on your way out. It's the thumbs up icon. Once again, for those just tuning in, scan the QR code for BUSR right now. Make a minimum deposit of $100, and you're automatically entered in the contest for 2 tickets in Section 118 for Jets and the Bears to Rel Revis Ring of Honor game on November 27th. BUSR.com/Asman or scan the QR code, sign up, $100 deposit, and the tickets could be yours. Thanks to everyone who took time to watch. Like the video on your way out. Subscribe if you're new. Go Jets. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday.